Six-Figure Entrepreneur Podcast, the #1 podcast for bringing you behind the scenes with real online earners. And today we have a special guest, Chris Guerrero. He was a recommendation from Amber Spears, and he's also worked with our good buddy Todd Lamb. So I'm excited to hear what this guy has to say because I don't really know too much of his background besides what I read on his website. But he looks like he's worked with some pretty heavy hitters in the industry, and we're really excited to bring his story to you guys.
So what's up, Chris? Welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to have you too because we haven't had so I guess more explain what you are, because from our point of view, you're kind of like you're a business coach, #1, and you're working with a lot of people in the online space, from my understanding, and I'm sure you have more clients past that too. So kind of give the people a rundown of what you do.
Hey, I'm going to go a little bit further back than that, if that's okay with you guys, because
100%.
Like business coaches, I work on, it's such a small segment of what my companies do.
Cool.
Gotcha.
So I started as a personal fitness trainer years and years and years ago, and grew that company into a chain of, I'm sorry, not a chain, but a string of personal trainers up and down the East Coast, about 150 trainers working for me. We turned that into a health club because I learned my very first lesson in business, which was when you work just with independent contractors, it's really difficult to keep everybody kind of riled in. So I started my first health club, which was outstanding, and it was a great experience. And it was my first, really big brick and mortar kind of entrance. Grew that into a chain of clubs on the East Coast, which was outstanding. Sold that company in 2004. But before I sold that company, I really wanted to continue our mission. Our mission from day one as a personal trainer was to help the greatest number of people possible. But as a personal trainer, you can't really do that too much, right? You're limited. There's a very low ceiling. With personal trainers working for you, the ceiling goes a little bit higher. In the health club industry, now we went from being able to help a couple of hundred people with the trainers to tens of thousands of people, which was tremendous. But I literally was showing up in the office feeling like I was in this empty wine bottle with a cork on it, jumping up, trying to expand, but we just couldn't, because every time we expanded to another location, it was another $50,000, $60,000 a month just to turn the lights on, right? I mean, not including payroll and everything else that we had to do. So when I sold that company, I decided I was going to take that message that we had and put it into a book. And Maximize Your Metabolism was the very first health book that I wrote. I wrote a bunch of others after that. And that turned into a pretty good wave for us. And we used all the marketing tools and tactics that I learned in the health club industry, which I was in that industry for over a decade, almost 15 years before I sold it. But we did them online, and prior to that, when I was in the club industry, we had hired some of the biggest marketers in the world to help us out, guys like Jay Abraham and people like that, to help us to grow. And so there was a lot of really unique stuff that I was doing over there. So when I took that and I did it online, it just blew up. Like nobody was asking for referrals. Nobody was doing unique selling propositions. Nobody was doing anything thinking outside the box. So in a very short period of time, in the first 60 days, we sold over 60,000 copies of the book. We sold over 1 million copies, 319,000 copies in the first year, and then over 1 million copies of the book so far. And you stop keeping track after that. But I was getting approached by folks who were in the industry, like the big names back then who were internet marketers. So I knew nothing about internet marketing. I didn't have a publisher back then. I didn't even know I was supposed to collect an email address when people bought a book from my website. I was such a novice that I look back and I laugh, but it was embarrassing back then. Now I'm grateful to be able to laugh.
Absolutely.
But it grew very, very well. And I had a lot of the internet marketers asking me how the heck, they were contacting me through the website because I had my phone number on there, literally the phone number that came into my.
That's amazing.
Jesus. Did that phone just blow up all the time?
Yes, it did, but I didn't answer it that often. So
That's amazing.
Some of these guys asked me if I would speak on stage, and I ended up doing that. And I spent about 7 years speaking across the globe in these business things. But I went into a lot of other industries after that because I had a very strong core competency. We all have this great skill set that has helped us to build something in our lives, right? I was able to locate and attract target audiences and draw them in. And I became very good at building teams, and I became very good at systematizing things, which are all things that helped us scale companies. So when I sold the clubs and I started that book, I also had a giant chunk of change come in from the clubs, right? We had this chain of clubs that now we sold for more than I had ever seen a chain of clubs sell for. And I was very fortunate with that.
How many clubs were in that chain?
Well, we had 3, one in Manhattan, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
Very cool.
It was a small chain, but it was really a tremendous impact that we had, and financial impact on my life, because I spent so much of that time rubbing nickels together, trying to survive, and then selling for, a huge amount of money. And I took that, and I was invited into a venture capital firm to become an investor in the firm. And that became where I spent the majority of my time. I still spend a lot of my time in there. But since then, I have I spend time in the venture capital firm, and then we have a class action noticing firm in California. We have the consulting firm that you talked about before. We have a branding company. We have several different companies that I'm involved in, 4 of which are 8-figure companies at this point.
Wow.
Very cool. Congratulations.
Yeah. And then we have several that are smaller that are either 7 or haven't hit the 7-figure mark yet, because most of the time I let my ego get in the way, and that crushes just a tremendous amount of crap. So when you said before, I'm a consultant first, what I am is Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday, these 2 end days of the week, I work 9 to 9:30. I study the metrics for each one of the companies that I'm involved in. 9:30 to 12:30, I'm in meetings with each one of the key leadership teams in each one of my companies, and we drive them forward. And then 12:30 to 3 o'clock, I do what I'm good at in my companies, because I'm an employee of each one of my companies. And then I'm done, and I play with my kids for the rest of the day. Every day except for Wednesday. That one day a week, that's when I consult with clients.
Oh, wow.
Very
good. I'm glad you explained that, because we kind of came into this not fully knowing, and that was a great explanation, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was also searching you earlier, and I found your book on Amazon. So if you guys want his book, it's still up there.
Geez, I'm surprised it's still up there. That's been a long time.
Yeah, I think there's audio versions. I think you can get Audible, PFD or PDF.
Yeah, it was translated into a bunch of languages. I actually just recently sold the stock that I had in my very last health company, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. It was December, so now it's 4 months ago about.
Yeah.
So
very cool, man. So your businesses you have now, are they mostly online focused, or do you still have some brick and mortar too?
Yeah, so we've got both. So what I believe has been the greatest growth spurt for any of the companies that I'm involved in is the fact that we have this marriage between what I believe the best of online is and the best of offline, right? So no matter what, whenever we're building a company, the very first thing that we're looking for is to build relationships. And if we could create an environment where we really want to reach out and touch a lot of people with our message by building relationships, by building this trust with not just
B2C relationships.
I'm sorry?
B2C relationships, like
B2B, B2C, whatever it is, whatever industry you're in. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it would be customers, prospects, relationships with employees, relationships with vendors, relationships with investors, if we have investors, relationships with partners. So it is making sure that there's a win all around with everybody. And when we're able to do that from the start, shit just goes so much easier.
Perfect. And feel free to go crazy on profanity. We're pretty good with it.
Oh yeah, I apologize.
You're totally good.
No, we're good. We're 100%
it pops out of my mouth all the time too. So that's super cool, man. I actually really, I'm a huge fan of that philosophy too, of everyone winning, because I think about how things thrive in an ecosystem, and it's like when everything's beneficial, if it's working for everyone, there's just no reason to stop. It should only increase and grow.
Right. Yeah. So I'll tell you, some of our companies, we sell larger ticket items. So some of the ticket items go all the way up to $250,000 per product.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, some of the greatest sales that we've made have not come from our marketing, or almost anything else that traditionally brings in sales. Some of our greatest sales, no matter what price point we're talking about, whether it's $39 all the way up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes the best ones come from somebody who has been in our herd someplace, somebody who's been sucking on free content in our emails or free content in our social platforms, and they recommend somebody.
Interesting.
Right? It's tremendous, because we built that level of trust where we just keep giving. We don't take somebody out of our community because they're not buying, even if they've been in there for years.
Yeah.
I want them to be cheerleaders of ours.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense, man.
That's really smart. We know a lot of digital guys that have built their model just off that, like give away as much free content as you can. And then when you come up with a course, you don't even really have to sell it, because people just trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, you've like earned that relationship. You've invested. And I feel like the consumer feels like, man, if this guy's free stuff is this good, his paid stuff must be even better.
You hope they think that.
Yeah. So out of all your companies you have now, which one are you most excited about?
Well, right now I'm super excited about the consulting stuff. I've been doing that for about 10 years. We've got clients in there who have been with us for the entire 10 years.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but here's why I'm excited about it. Number one, I am juiced and jazzed at the end of that day, every single day. I literally have to spend time decompressing after a day of talking to business leaders.
Yeah.
Call after call after call all day. I take one little break during the day just so I could hydrate and, have a little bit of food.
Yeah.
But I'm excited at the end of the day. It's awesome. But we are just really putting our foot into the social world. So it's not just working with these larger brands or these brands that are, smaller but aggressively growing and can handle growth. It's not just that, but now we're able to spread that word socially, which is just awesome. To be able to open up those gates, and just like give and give and give. Yeah,
totally. So as far when people come to you for consulting, is there any type of like any type of vetting you do beforehand to see if it's someone you want to take on?
Yeah. So my consulting program is called Club 28 because we only work with 28 clients a year. So nice. 28 brands, period, at the end, because I'm personally doing it. So none of this is me getting consultants who are trying to say, oh, flip to chapter 3. And it's all, I will get on before we started this podcast, you guys said, oh yeah, so we know this person and this person that you've worked with, and they're growing. And the reason for that is because I will only work with a company that I know that my skill set will be like throwing gasoline on this fire.
Awesome.
So they bring super expertise in their industry. And then I bring, the missing piece of the puzzle, or I bring relationships, or I bring whatever it is that I could bring. And then we work once a week and we look at the metrics and we go over exactly what I believe we can do. And together we build a plan, and every week we just grow and grow and grow each one of their organizations. We have an average this year. So I can't quote you 2019. 2018, we had 210% average growth. The year before that, it was like 180 or so percent average growth with our clients. We could go back like 3 or 4 years. I just did this exercise and it blew me the hell away. And if you go on the website, you'll see there's these testimonials, these video testimonials of people just saying how much they've grown, and it's fun. But we just did this exercise because I was speaking on stage a couple of months back, and I asked my team to please go through and do the average growth of everybody. We've got companies that are doing a few $1 million a year who they could grow lots, or they could grow 500+%. And then we've got these giant brands that are doing billions of dollars a week. And if they just grow this little bit, that's still tremendous.
Totally.
They're able to really reach out and touch so many more people.
That's awesome, man.
To step back a little bit, how come 28? Just curious.
Oh, so good question. It's the number of people I could fit in to a Wednesday. So my Wednesday,
you can go through 28 people in one day.
I actually number one, let me preface that by saying number one, I spill over a little bit into Thursday morning.
Okay.
Gotcha. 2 clients on Thursday morning now. And not everybody is every single week.
Oh, okay.
A lot of them get to the point where we really only have to speak once a month or once every 2 weeks or something like that. So yes, 28 fits perfectly into my Wednesday kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
You're superhuman over there.
I was going to say, man, your daily structure is unreal. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually one thing I'm trying to set up more for myself, is just create more structure. Because, when you take advantage of the whole online lifestyle, it's very easy to lose that when you like, hey, let's go to Bali for 2 weeks and work out of there. Like, I find that structure, at least for me, falls apart. So I'm always impressed when people can hold that up.
Yeah, so I am also, I've got some really great friends. I'm sure we know a lot of the same people who literally travel with laptops and they can run things, and really do well like that. I'm not like that. Yeah. I have paper in front of me. Like, I write down on paper. If you heard this weird noise.
Yeah.
Like most people don't even know what that noise means anymore.
That a VHS?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard my facsimile came in.
Yes, yes.
I'm kidding.
There's
But
something about writing though. I feel for me personally, it connects more into my head.
it does.
More. It's way better than typing it out in a notepad. I'll write until the day I die, probably.
Yeah. So one of the things that we do, we have annual meetings with in each one of our companies, and there's a very specific structure that we go through. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing here because you'd probably be bored to death. But one of the main things is we think on whiteboards, right? We do this all year long, but in our annual meeting, I get up there and I will very strategically put the number that we are going to hit, like the projection for this year for that particular company. And let's just say it's $25 million. I'm going to draw a circle on it. And I am going to now use that entire whiteboard for probably a day, like at least a half a day. We're going to be there going through an exercise to strategically list out every single action that needs to happen in each department in order to ensure that we meet or exceed each one of our targets, so that and if each department meets or exceeds their target, then we as a company will meet or exceed our $25 million or whatever your target is. So which is foreign to so many people. Like we have people in that room who they're like, well, why can't we do this on this mind map software? And why can't we do it over here? And I'm like, no, put that shit the fuck away.
Yeah.
Look at my whiteboard. Like I need eyes up here.
Yeah, totally.
All minds on board. Wait, okay, marker in hand. Let's do this.
Yeah. I like you had the sniff test on that marker first.
Yeah.
That's so funny, man.
I find visual is just so much better for me personally. I'm sure some people are more technically driven in terms of how they remember stuff, but I got to see it too. So that's great. The detailed reverse engineering on a whiteboard. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is that as you build a team, you find that there's people who will understand what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But most people won't. They just can't connect the dots that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you write something out in text, other people will be able to sit there and they'll be like, I'm in my comfort zone and I will study this and I will get it right the way he or she wants it. But then when you put things into picture, when you actually draw stuff, it doesn't make a difference what kind of thought process is in that room with you. Everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. That makes sense. And that makes sense too for the different styles that people have. I know I'm visual too. Sometimes you tell me stuff, it literally goes like in one ear and out the other, where if I see it, then I can really I feel like embody it and know what the fuck needs to happen to move forward.
Yeah.
So when clients come to you and you said you bring like your skill set, your secret sauce, are you generally noticing it's the same thing, or what's the trend that you see?
Dude, I wish if it was the same thing, I'd probably systematize this stuff.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I think my camera's like super blurry. I don't know why that is.
It's okay now. Your mic was a little quiet there for a bit, but I think we got you back now.
Yeah. So it depends on the life cycle that the company is in. So a great majority of people have no idea how to build a leadership team or even how to attract the right team players. So we could have somebody, we have a client who's doing probably $14-15 million right now, and doesn't have a team member. Like it's him sitting, and a lot of vendors, right? A lot of outsources, cold traffic, all that kind of stuff, but nobody in his place, just starting his first office. So there's that kind of a person who needs desperately to be able to understand how to attract the right person. Then there's people who need to understand how to have meetings with people, right? Because understanding how to run a meeting properly gives you the ability to step back and no longer be an entrepreneur, but now step into the CEO position. And it's exciting because you're able to manage people instead of implement and do the crappy stuff that holds us back so much. But there's marketing, there's branding, there's introductions to people. There's so many things that people need in business, but just don't have a connection to be able to make this stuff all work or have a track record. No. And I'll define what a track record is. I don't believe somebody who has who created one great funnel is the person to hire for your funnel. Right? That's a one-hit wonder. I don't care if you ran a Facebook campaign that was freaking outstanding and made $1 billion freaking dollars once. I don't believe that you could probably duplicate that. But if you do it twice, cool. You do it 3 times, I'm starting to see a track record. 3 or more times, I want to work with you for whatever the hell you're doing. I want you. Like, I want to partner with you. I want to do something with you because you're a rock star.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We see that a lot in our industry. We get a lot of like one hit wonders in terms of like they found one little trick or something to crank out tons of money. And then a year later, they're like down in the dumps trying to scrounge together anything they can to make stuff work.
Yeah.
Or create
then they've spent the money too.
Or created a course. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know if you know this, probably not, but that's kind of why we started this podcast, because we noticed that there was like a fluctuation of fake gurus in the industry. So we wanted to bring,
I didn't know that, but I would have been even more excited to be here.
Yeah. So we're like, our whole goal is to bring on the real deal people that are behind the scenes, or like even the real gurus, if there are good ones, you know. We've had everyone. It's pretty cool, man. So
it is rare. I have this conversation with friends all the time where we look at even people who are buddies of ours who were super duper good at one or two things, and now constantly trying to call in favors. To, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? But unwilling to think outside of what they are used to, right? They can't get out of their sandbox.
Interesting.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a firm believer that you really don't need to be an expert at anything outside of what is your stupid human trick. Like, whatever you are really super good at, your core competency, you should do that. I'm not a fan of saying, if you got to find your weak link and build that weak link, read every book. And I think you should stay what you're good at, and then become really good at attracting other rock stars to your team.
How come what do you think the reason is people being stuck in their own ways? Do you think it's an ego-driven issue?
No, I think it's, maybe. I mean, I'm an ego person, so maybe I shouldn't say no to that.
Okay.
I don't, maybe it's an ego thing that they don't want to admit that they have a hole. But I think the great majority of them is that it's like opening up this door and not seeing anything on the other side, like seeing there's this gray faded out, like I just don't know. It's the unknown.
Yeah.
Like when I was in the club business, I was in the health club business for so many years. I never had anything up to that point, except I never had anything that I was in for that long. With that many employees, that I didn't, and I just wanted to sell because I was frustrated, but I couldn't figure out what the hell would I do after this. Couldn't see anything after that. So I think it's the same feeling.
Gotcha. How did you actually transition from that then? If you were in the health business and you're like, I want out, but you couldn't find the path, what helped you get from that not knowing to knowing?
The path from the health industry to another industry?
Yeah, whatever you were trying to venture into after that.
Well, I think there's two different questions. So the health club industry, I overlapped, and I think that you should always overlap when you're in business. So personal training, I still trained people when I went into the health club industry because I needed that revenue. When I had the health clubs, I overlapped that with the book, right? So I didn't need the revenue, but I needed to know that there was something there that I could continue to do with. But to go from the health industry, which included all of our online memberships and the books and the TV series and everything else that we had in the health industry, to go from that to, the venture capital industry or the branding company or anything else, we have to keep in mind that everything that I've ever done, I'm Italian, I'm talking with my hands, and I'm not even.
I like it, man. It's good.
I never leave what I'm good at. Like in each one of my companies, I'm good at a few things, and I have to stay here. As soon as I go out, which I do often, I do, to go back to the fact that I have an ego. I believe I could do everything else better than most other people, and every time I do that, I gum up the works. Right? I got to pull myself in. I have an assistant. She's been with me for 17 years. She's amazing. And I will tell you that I think her greatest asset that she brings to the table is that she will be honest with me and tell me, like, why the fuck are you doing this? Every day, every morning we have a meeting, our morning meeting, and we go over certain things. I go over 3 things in every single one of our team meetings, and she brings an additional thing to that. And it's always, what are you doing good, Chris, and what are you not? What are you doing that I know you shouldn't be doing? So,
that's cool. That's great to have someone in check. I'm actually looking for a coach right now for a similar thing. Because I find for myself, I'll just like branch into stuff, and I'll even branch in, get to work. And then I'll be like, oh man, this looks pretty cool too. And I'll start playing with that. And then that will start working. Before I know it, I got fucking 8 things that are all like working. None
But
necessarily
working
on a
to
grand.
this degree, but not working to this degree.
Yeah, when the potential is that degree, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I get
Oh,
in that
yeah.
trap at the same time, or all the time as well.
Yeah, you're not alone. I mean, literally every CEO, every entrepreneur has that mindset. I don't even know if there's a name for that mindset, but
Yeah.
it is when you know that you're good at something, and if you just touched this one thing, at least part of it would turn to gold.
Yeah.
Then it's hard not to just go and touch that sometimes.
Totally. Yeah.
And usually when you hand it off, people aren't going to be invested as you are, and it's going to tank.
Yeah, well,
that's part of the game.
One thing I was actually kind of curious that you touched on, and it's funny because I've Googled this before, how to like actually structure solid meetings. I know it may sound simple, but fuck, I've had meetings going for 3 hours and walk out of there and be like, what the fuck are we doing? We just wasted 3 hours, not only of my time, but 3 other people's time or 5 other people's time.
Right. So we have daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual meetings, and they all have a similar structure, but we handle them all differently. So I'll go over our daily meetings, because our daily meetings are let me reverse engineer this. In our annual meeting, like I was saying before, we use a whiteboard for one of the days, and we make it so detailed that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt every task that needs to happen. Because in here, I'm going to jump all over the place. I apologize.
No, please.
Most companies fail because they measure numbers. They measure the wrong thing. They measure numbers.
Yeah.
You don't measure numbers. What we do is we start with a number. We figure out all the actions that everything that has to take place. And then daily we measure actions.
I love that.
Measure actions. People are far more motivated. Your team is, your vendors are, your joint venture partners are, you are. Like when you could go through and check things off a list instead of saying, today I didn't make $10,000. Oh, what the fuck? This is crazy. No, but if you go through and you say, oh, I accomplished my 5 things. Most of our companies are run with top 5 lists, and it's the top 5 most important things that I need to do today in order to keep the company moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our annual meeting, and there's a lot more that we do in it, but that's, for this topic, that's the most important thing. And we reverse engineer that, and we bring it all the way down to every single day, every person in there, they know what their the tasks, the list of 100 or 150 things that they need to do that year. And then every day, their responsibility is to take their top 5 most important things, the top 5 most important uses of their time that day, put it onto a top 5 list. Now our daily meetings are run with three things, like I was saying earlier. Number one, and everybody, by the way, everybody gets prep material. They know what to come with. Everybody comes prepared.
Nice.
Number one, what have you accomplished in the past so far? So if we're having a meeting today is today's Friday?
Thursday.
Today's Thursday. So what have you accomplished so far this week, right? That's the first thing. So we'll go around the table. What have you accomplished so far this week? Great. Boom, 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 boom. Now, what's your most important use of your time today, right? So now we're going forward. So they'll go through their top 5. And if it's not being pulled, if it's not the most important use of their time from not just their perspective, but as a company perspective, the company moving forward, then we modify it a little bit. But most people are pretty damn good with choosing their top 5. And the third thing that we go over is, do you have a rock in your path? And because the accumulation of minds that are in that room, no doubt, can blow almost any rock out of your path. Whether I could say, oh, I know how to do that shit. Or I could say, hey, let me make a phone call after we're done here. I'll hook you up with one of the best guys in the industry who will get on the phone with you as a favor to me for 5 minutes. He'll tell you how to do that shit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whatever it is, it's important. And then our meetings are literally timed. So we start exactly on time. We end exactly on time. It's the only way I could run my life. Mm-hmm. If meetings ran over, then I wouldn't be able to do what I do.
Yeah, that makes sense. How long do your meetings last for? I imagine the annual one's fucking long.
Well, the annual one could be 2 days, 2.5 days long. You know what? I'll be glad to actually send you. I hate to say this on a recorded line because I don't necessarily want to share this with everybody.
Yeah.
Send you our meeting.
Dude, I would love that.
Exactly what we cover and the amount of time and everything else. But But again, it's going to vary per company because the amount of time we spend in a meeting varies depending on how fast the company is growing, what part of their growth spurt they're in. If company's growing super duper fast, there's a possibility we're going to have to spend a little bit more time in our meeting so that when I'm done, they can continue that great momentum. If they're growing if they're growing steady, but slowly, then maybe we don't need nearly as much time unless we could throw gas on that fire. Our daily meetings are anywhere between 10 minutes and 30 minutes long. So most of our team meetings for a day are 10 or 15 minutes long. Some of them last the full 30 minutes, but that's only if we really need it.
Nice. I like that, man. 30 minutes is a beautiful thing. It's better than 3 hours.
You just
for a day. If people come prepared, you're going to find 30 minutes is overkill unless you have a big team.
Yeah.
And by the way, what I'm talking about are leadership team meetings.
Yeah.
So we may have the head of our cold traffic, our cold traffic, or our list manager, but then underneath him, he may have his daily meetings with the people who he works with or the vendors that he works with.
No, that totally makes sense. And dude, I really like the idea too of measuring actions, not numbers, because if those actions are being performed, the numbers should get there eventually.
If you did your job right in the annual meeting, definitely.
Yeah.
Like if all three of us got together and we set a target and we like really dissected it and we had a meeting, like everybody on your team is in there. So every single person who has any influence on reaching that. So if you have a cold media company that you work with, they've got to be in there. So we do our meetings in our war room, and our war room is all whiteboards all around us.
Yeah.
A boardroom meeting boardroom table in the middle. And then behind me are 3 monitors, right? Because we need to have people who are either going to be Skyping in, Zooming in, or GoToMeeting in, right? Whatever they're using, like people, the cold traffic guys in Israel, they're there, right? Anybody who is going to help us, who is going to be able to say, oh, wait a minute, if your goal is to go from here to here with that one product, well, we've only been running Facebook traffic, so we have to open up Google traffic also. So that might be what he says. But our coder might be in there and say, well, hell, last time we opened up Google traffic, it caused this problem, this problem, and this problem. So we're going to have to do these things also. And then our customer support person might be in there and say, yeah, but if you do that, then we're going to have to also add these things. So everybody is literally sharing ideas. And by the time we're done, it looks like, everybody got there and just vomited all over this whiteboard because there's this chicken scratch everywhere. Yeah. So it becomes an exercise of now one person during the meeting taking each action off of that and assigning it to one person. And that one person takes ownership of it.
Gotcha.
So you're taking responsibility off of your desk, the owner, to push things forward, which you should not. That's not your job to push things forward. Your job is to get people to drink the Kool-Aid. Your job is to set the right targets. Your job is to manage the people so they can manage their actions. And if you do all that right, then you could grow an organization.
Do you use any software for the task management past the whiteboard once it gets handed off to someone?
So funny, no, but my team all does.
Okay.
They're stuck on different types of software, whether it's Slack or Basecamp or whatever it is that they enjoy doing, depending on the company. I hate that shit because that is so much more of my time to go look through threads or to go and do stuff. I would rather everybody does what they need to do, and then they submit their numbers to Emily every single day. She puts them on my desk, and I could manage the metrics so that I know what the key metrics are for each one of my teams, and then have a meeting with them and have everything verbalized. I'm done then. Like I was as efficacious as I could possibly be doing what I do well. And then they could go on and do what they need to do. None of this, hey, Chris, I just need 2 minutes of your time. Can you just go into Slack and try to figure out what sentence I'm talking about? I can't do that.
Yeah. No doubt. That's enough, awesome, man. Fuck, I like how you laid that whole thing out.
Yeah.
And again, too, I like the idea of taking the ownership off we'll say the CEO, and have him focus on the people and the people focus on the actions and hold them accountable to that.
Well, assuming, again, every time you say that, I'm going to throw a caveat on that, assuming we did it right in the beginning.
Yeah.
Your job is to lead, is to choose the right number, right? You got to look at your statistics. You got to look at last time this year we were here. These are the reasons why we got to this point. These are the new things that we have in place. And I believe I could project this particular number. And by the way, we don't ever have when I said $25 million as an example before, our targets, when I'm talking to my leadership team, are always twofold. We always have a high and a low that we're shooting for. I'm okay with hitting 25, but I know if we exceed expectations, we could go to 28 or we could go to 29. And so that's what we build the actions for, the top level.
Nice.
But if we fail a little bit, I'm still going to be happy at 25.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a system to come up with that number?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I jump in so quickly. Yes, but again, it depends on the industry because the industry is going to dictate where the clients come from. So in some of our industries where we have much higher ticket items, we really only need a handful a month to come in.
Gotcha.
Right. And to acquire that kind of a customer has a much longer lead time, much more trust has to be built up. But then to go out there and sell $39 books or something like that, that requires a relationship with their media team. It requires different relationships, not necessarily with the customers.
That makes sense.
Man, one thing I'm kind of curious about, when entrepreneurs come to you, I imagine they come to you because they're like, they're
He gapped out.
That pretty accurate?
You gapped out for a second.
Sorry about that.
Re-ask.
So when entrepreneurs come to you, are they generally like kind of like stuck? They have a certain sticking point. Is that generally what you see, or is it kind of all over the board?
Only a few have come to me at that point. The great majority of people are growing, and they just need somebody who understands how to get them to the next level, right? How to keep them growing. So it's somebody who has some success and says, "Holy crap, I did this once and I failed," because the great majority of companies, like there's revenue plateaus, and I hate to make such a blanket statement like this, but there seems to be, after working with so many different companies, my own, with partnerships with companies in the venture capital field, the companies that I advise, there seems to be these plateaus where there might be $1 million, $10 million, $25 million, 50, 80, and $100 million. And I could keep going, but basically there are plateaus that when a company is hitting those, right, they're getting to this level, what happens a lot is they go up and then they start doing this thing, and they go up above $1 million, and then they go down, and they get stuck in this plateau. And the reason is because most entrepreneurs don't understand that at certain levels of growth, you need to change the dynamic inside your organization. You need to upgrade your systems. You need to change the people. The people and the systems that got you to 10 million are not going to get you to 25 million. The systems that are great for you at 10 million does not mean you could take those systems and start another company from scratch, because $10 million systems can't build a company from scratch. But $10 million systems also can't get you to $25 million, right? So you need somebody who has a track record, has been through this multiple times, to say, yeah, dude, holy shit. You're creating a system. You're trying to create a system for a $25 million company, and you're barely breaking $1 million. Like, why the fuck are you doing this? It's a recipe for frustration.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
One of the things that we do in every company that I work with is we try to get everybody to build a process org chart, an organizational chart that is a little bit different than a normal corporate org chart. It doesn't just say, hey, here's the CEO, here's the financial guy, here's CFO, COO. It doesn't just have blocks on there. Each one of the blocks also has the 5, 10, 15 most important tasks for that particular person to do, right? Because when we have it so anally done that that we can see every repetitive task that has to happen, then we could literally see who our next hire is. We could see where people fit. We could see things in the hierarchy that are so much more organized than most people ever get with their companies.
Yeah. Bam.
I like the level that you break things down, man. That's really cool. And I imagine you see a lot of gaps in your systems and in your people once it's broken down like that.
Yeah, well, sure, of course. So what's funny is clarity. Like, what's the number one thing that you need to have in your organization is clarity, right?
Yeah.
We need to know where we're going. We need to know who we need on our team to get there. We need to know what kind of systems. We need to know what not the fuck to do, because holy shit, most people waste their time. So the exercise, it's almost like if I'm on a highway, I'm driving, sometimes it's better to slow down a little bit to go around this guy so I could speed up and get the fuck past him, as opposed to trying to race the dude, right?
Interesting.
So it's taking a step back, and it's giving yourself a day. Like, a day is not a long time, and a couple of hours, it's not that long to take out to really go through and create a process org chart, or to use one of these other tools or whatever you want to call them, that just give you that clarity to see, well, who should be my next hire, or my God, who should not be here anymore? Like, we have grown so much that we don't need these 3 people anymore. I love them. I don't want to see them go, but you know what? I am so good. My only goal, my only job as the owner of this company is to grow this company, right? My only responsibility to this company. Now, that sounds horrible, but this company, the definition of this company is the people in it. It's the people we help, right? Yeah. So I want to give everything possible to these people. I know beyond a shadow of doubt that if we are grown to the point where these 3 people don't fit anymore, they're probably upset. They're not feeling good. They're not able to stretch their arms every single day, right? So I want to have a discussion with them and talk to them about that, and let them know, man, I want you to be happy. Like, I already know 2 companies that would love to have you. They'll probably pay you more. They'll treat you amazing. I will write you an amazing letter. It will be heartbreaking for me to see you go, but you're going to be so much happier, right?
Yeah.
We don't need these departments anymore. So we could retrain them. Sometimes we could retrain people, but it's rare that works.
Yeah. Very interesting. How do you identify when it is time to move someone on? Like, is there certain characteristics you noticed, or what do you measure?
So 2 things. One, we've outgrown them. We don't need their position anymore. Or they have become a virus. Like, if they don't fit our culture any longer, we have a culture in every single one of our organizations, and our culture starts with our values. And when you have a strong set of values, it's very easy to see when people don't fit anymore. Like, if one of our values is we give before we get. However, we had somebody in our organization who was spectacular, what she did, spectacular. However, constantly asking for more and more of everybody's time. Like, in order to get her job done, she had to take more time from everybody else. Hey, can you review this? I know this person just reviewed it, but I want you to review it before I submit it to Chris, or before I submit it to whoever the superior is, And so they're now virus. So,
that makes total sense. And I imagine too, like, it'd be hard to let that person go, especially someone who's been with you for a few years, maybe someone from the start. Like, that's not an easy call to make.
Or family. Like, I don't employ my family, but we do have employees that their wives or their husbands are working for us, or their sisters or their brothers.
Yeah.
And to let somebody go, that's a real big decision. It's going to affect
absolutely.
Your relationship. Potentially you lose 2 people instead of just 1.
Totally. What about do you have any policy on hiring friends?
We have a policy of hiring emotionally intelligent people.
Gotcha. No, but for yourself, would you ever hire a friend of yours for something? Or because you say
they
no
are
family.
Emotionally intelligent and they are really good at what they do, I'd hire
question. Yeah.
Gotcha. But listen, I don't know if you got this so far, but I'm super blunt.
Yeah.
I will start this relationship with you knowing exactly what I expect from you and what you could expect from me. When we start the relationship, it'll all be put in writing. Like, this is what I need from you. And then we have regular updates. Like, we will go over, these are the things that you are awesome at. Like, every quarter, these are the things you're fucking awesome at. Holy shit. But you know what? These 2 things that you knew you had to be doing, you're falling short. So let me know how I could help you. I want to help you. Well, Chris, you could help me by this, that, and the other thing. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna write that down. Right? Yeah. So hey, these are my notes. Do me a favor and just sign my notes so that you and I are both on the same page. We have another meeting in another couple of months or another 3 months, and they're still not doing those 2 or 3 things, I pull that paper out of their folder and I say, hey, listen, now you're slowing the company down. Now in this little box on our org chart that I need these 5 or 8 things to be happening in this box in order for the company to keep growing. These 2 things are just consistently not getting going. So you're literally slowing everybody else down. We talked about this before. You signed a piece of paper saying you understood it. We've had other conversations. Maybe we had lunch or we had something else. Now we got to find another place for you.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. I like the idea too of like first offering them support so that they get those things done. But then number 2, making sure the accountability is there.
Oh yeah. Listen, nobody would make it on our team unless they earn the right to be there. So I give them all a tremendous amount of respect. They earn the right to be there. They're better at whatever they do than I could ever be. Right. Yeah. So I respect them for that. But if they're not doing what needs to be done to keep the company growing, then my number 1 responsibility is to the company, because my company supports a lot of people and we reach out and we touch millions of people with our customers and our prospects and everybody else. So, I take it personally.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, man. And when you're so dedicated to your mission, how could you not?
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Very cool. Man,
Yeah.
so you bring on a coaching client, right? Or consulting client. What's like the very first thing you do with them when you bring them on?
So we hit the ground running. Prior to me having even any phone contact with them, other than our initial meeting, because we have an initial meeting before we even agree to work together. I want to make sure that they're really at the point where I believe we could grow them quickly, and I also want to make sure that we're going to get together. We're going to click.
Nice.
Like most of my all of my clients, I'm friends with.
Yeah.
All of them, and some of them really super good friends. Like I know their families, and they know me. And it's important to me. Like I'm not at the point in my life where I need to just bring somebody on to bring somebody on. I want to bring somebody on because I'm good at growing. Like we all have our core competencies. I am good at growing companies. I'm good at putting those puzzle pieces together. And I want to do that for honest, ethical, moral, legal companies that I believe really have a great message and really want to do some great things. So we talk first just to see if there's a connection. And then they're going to fill out this piece of paperwork, right? So we've got some paperwork that's about 15 pages long, and it is very eye-opening. It shows them that exercise of them filling out the information that I need helps them to figure out a lot of what their metrics should be, right? It's an eye-opening experience. And then when I get that, I study that, and my team goes out there and does a lot of due diligence on their competition and on everything that we could find out about them. So when I come to that first call, there's a lot to talk about. Like I'm opening up their eyes to a lot of things, and we do a lot of talking, roll over the place. But by the end of the first call, we literally have a game plan to move forward and get them to the next level.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun for me.
What do you do with like an entrepreneur who has like 3 or 4 things that they're doing? Do you ever try to dial them back and focus, or ever be like, okay, well, let's build teams around these 4 things? How do you approach that?
It depends. Listen, I've got more than 4 things that I've got going on. Plus I've got kids. Plus I've got a lot of other things. So people look at me sometimes and they don't understand how I can do it, or they think I'm a jack of all trades. My neighbors don't know what the hell do I do for a living, right? It's hysterical.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't hold it against them if I saw they had 3 or 4 things, but if they had 3 or 4 competing things, definitely either they would not be in my consulting, or we would have a heart-to-heart, and we'd say, hey, listen, if you say your goal is blank and you have not been able to reach that yet, and it seems like you're working this organization here, which is pulling you in this direction, this other organization you're trying to build pulling you in this direction, it's just they're competing. Like you've reached the length of that rope. Now we've got to let one go so the other one could just skyrocket, right?
Yeah. No, that makes total sense.
Crazy. So when you say competing, you mean like they don't overlap on anything, or like completely different industry?
For your mental bandwidth.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, we have a very limited amount of mental bandwidth that we can put towards, and there's ways to improve that. There's ways to become, improve your cognitive performance. But once you've improved that, you've still only got X amount.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to put 100% towards what the most, with the engine that is going to get you to the end result fastest.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever, in that situation, would you ever try to find a solution to hire people to maybe take one over, so you could manage both, or?
Yeah. So number one would be, hey, do you want to partner with somebody who maybe brings their heart to the table?
Gotcha.
You have somebody already in one of the organizations who maybe you could bring onto a C-level spot and get them a piece of equity, not an ownership, but a little bit of equity in the company. And that equity would be equity from the point that they sign that agreement, the growth from that day forward, not the growth that you've experienced before so far. That's what their salary takes care of.
Yeah.
Right? Future growth is where they get a piece of equity. And if it sells, they would get a little equity also later on.
Nice. I like that idea, man, because it doesn't take away from what you built already. And it's all about creating that extra value.
Yeah. So many people struggle with, if they want to take on a partner, if they want to give somebody a piece of something. Well, I already put my blood, sweat, and tears. I took away from my family. I did all these things to grow this organization. That's fucking great. You own that. Like, don't give that away. What you need to do though is motivate this other person. If you're going to ask them to make this their life, so you could do other stuff, you got to motivate them, but motivate them with the performance from this day forward. And that's a very simple agreement to have.
For sure. And I think that's very logical. I think that if someone didn't
we lost them.
They're not the right fit.
Yeah, there you
go. Well, you're back.
So what I was saying, if someone didn't understand that, I imagine they might not be the right fit for a partner. And that actually kind of leads into what I want to ask you. Going about picking the right partners, when you said put your heart into it, that kind of rang true, because I understand like how much it takes to build a fucking business. It ain't easy.
No.
Hey, watch your language. You're
okay, Dad.
So it's what's fun. We've had people who have had such a strong passion that I have partnered with in business, and they've done wonderful. We've also had some people who are so young that the amount of quote unquote testosterone that they put towards shit, and the fact that they don't believe they could fail, is outstanding. And if we could harness that and keep them focused in the right direction and keep experts around them, but they're really good at what they do, then that energy drives drives the rest of the team.
Wow.
Picking a partner, really, you pick them for what you need them to be.
Gotcha.
I've been noticing that with the younger guys too, because we're currently like looking for a media buyer. And I was like, I don't think this guy loves it, but he loves the, like, how it's the newness to it, and he's excited about it and everything. And I was like, this is potentially a good fit for us.
Right. Maybe not for long term. Yeah. But definitely they'll come up with some creative things. Like, he may be your next $1 million a day freaking guy, but not for a whole year. Like, he may die off after the first 2 weeks, but it'll make you a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I have a love-hate relationship with the super young coming into the workforce right now. We've had so many come through who literally just are coming here to be trained. And I'm like, so they're not hired, like, and they won't get through any of our filters because they literally are here to learn as opposed to here to grow. Like, I want somebody who is like, damn, this is just so much energy, just so much great stuff in here. I want to give you everything. And then in return, would you also train me to be better? Like, definitely. We'll do that all day, every day.
I love that excitement, man. That, like, seeing that excitement through other people gets me excited, because I find, like, when I'm doing, like, I do a lot of media buying, and when I do it day to day, I'm like, sometimes just like, okay, I don't care. It's another freaking ad, you know? But then having a young guy around, I'm like, yeah, this is exciting. Like, I can't wait to teach you more.
Yeah, it's a good energy.
I used to have that fire. I used to.
We all did.
Yeah.
Advice to new entrepreneurs. Top 2-3 things they should know before, because a lot of people, they're in their job, they want to do something, especially for our channel, And just people that like DM me direct, they'll be like, hey, like your life seems pretty cool. Not really digging my job, always want to be out on my own. And sometimes I have a hard time kind of like giving them at least a path forward on what they should do. Because first of all, part of the reason I made this podcast is because so many people are like, how do you make money online? And there's a fucking million ways. Like there's so many ways to make money online that it's like to pick the one to tell them it's so hard. Yeah. So what I'll try to do is find what are they naturally good at, and then put them on like, hey, go check out podcasts with this person or that person, etc. But what advice would you have for people looking to transition out of their job onto an online business?
Number one, I would say choose the right industry. And I'll preface that because I don't know that I'm clear when I say that. When we were selling my first book for $39, we had to learn and get very, very good at locating our target audience, define our target audience, right? Then locate them, then engage them, and then attract them and sell them, right? It's a great process. And it is, when you do it right, there's a level of trust because you're defining them properly, you could talk to them using the right words, right? And there's a little bit of trust that's developed all the way through here until you get them sold, and then you over deliver. And now the relationship gets even better, right? So we got so good at that, but we were selling a $39 book. And then we got approached by so many different companies to help them do the exact same thing. And we have this branding company that helps companies do it. Now, the lowest ticket item there is $2,500 a month to be able to help people do that. We have Hollywood producers where we're able to do the exact same thing and help them fill seats in theaters. We have online businesses. We have offline businesses trying to get their message out. But it's the same process, same team, same everything. $39 product, $2,500 product. Take it one step further, the class action noticing firm that we have, where we have to prove that we have gone through due process to the judges and to the attorneys. When we get hired for that, our minimum ticket price is $250,000.
Yeah.
Same processes, same people that sell a $39 book used in a different industry who could truly make use of our work in a bigger, better way, like they value it more, pay a lot more, right? So choose your industry right, definitely. I'd rather sell, 5 of them a week than 500 or 5,000 books a day. What's that?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, man.
That was going to be my next question. I was going to be like, well, what's the point of selling something that's $35 and you can sell something that's $35,000 or up?
Well, so what's the point? You could grow a company like that. Yeah. That kind of company is very flexible, and you can grow in a lot of different ways. Because when we have, like I told you, I sold the final part of our health company, but I still have the ownership of my main books, which has an email list of over 3 million people. So we could mail this stuff. So what we have the ability to do when we sell a 39 or a 35 or even a 29 or a $15 product, what we have the ability to do is touch a lot more people. And when we touch a lot more people with a good message and with a good product, then when they come into our funnel, they trust us, and we're able to sell them other things that are giving them faster results. I'm not talking about building a list and then hitting it hard with affiliate offers, because that loses trust very quickly, right? That list is too high. But when you have that level of trust, people literally come to you and ask you, what should I be doing for this? What should I buy for this? Is this a good price that somebody else is offering for? It's freaking nuts, the communities that we've been involved with for that. But anyway, so my comments would be, I would choose the right industry. I would understand that you could build $1 million company by yourself. I believe it's very rare that you could build a highly profitable company. There's a big difference between $1 million company and then a profiting so much that you could afford to go on vacation when you want to and buy your mom or dad that Mercedes or whatever else that you want to do. You need to build a team. You need to understand the psychology of people and how to make sure that you have influence. And influence means I believe everybody should go on a challenge for 30 days and try to become more influential. And becoming more influential means that I study the conversation that we're having, and I try to see it from your perspective. And then when I talk to you, I can talk to you by making sure you understand what the win is for you in an honest, ethical, moral, legal way, not trying to sway you anyway, but it's a real influence.
Yeah. Do you, are you a big reader?
I go through spurts. Right now I read maybe a couple books a month. I've gone to the point where I was reading a lot. I don't, right now have a tremendous amount of time.
Fair enough.
So.
I was just wondering if you had any recommendations on books for new entrepreneurs.
Books for new entrepreneurs,
or any entrepreneur, honestly.
You know what? I love Top Grading by Brad Smart. So
nice.
I believe there's a lot of them. There's emotional intelligence books that I think everybody should understand. I believe people should understand the core concepts of a lot of books out there. Here's the biggest challenge that I have by recommending a book is that the great majority of business authors are researchers, or they went out there and they studied how Google did it and how Amazon did it and how Nestle did it. And they wrote a book and they said, these are the things that they have in common. So if you follow these things, you will be the next freaking Nestle. And here's the problem with that. They miss all of this small cogs that need to be put in place, all these small little golden nuggets that literally, if you don't know them, will crush your fucking organization, right?
Yeah.
You can't go into a startup organization or an organization doing $1 million, $2, $3, $4, $10 million. You can't go into there and say, well, you know what? We need to redesign our entire structure inside of our office to have lounge chairs all around here, to have a cafe over there. We can't have a martini bar brought around to everybody's office for lunch like these other organizations do. We can't do that, because if you do that, you will kill your culture, because you don't have the Google culture. You don't have billions of dollars and a huge community of people.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, I
love that, man. That's awesome.
No, that makes sense, man. So what are your future plans in business? Are you planning on doing a lot more speaking, or just focusing on what you're doing now?
That's a good question. I used to do 4 to 7 gigs a month. When I was traveling and I was speaking, I spent about 6.5 years. And then I got picked up in a car. I remember Thanksgiving dinner, shoving food in my face, and being told the car is here to pick you up to go to the airport. And I got in the car and I left, and I called my family from the lounge in the airport, and I said, this is it, the last one. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Being pulled out of my house, and voluntarily. I mean, I said yes to this gig. On Thanksgiving was unacceptable. So that was years ago. I stopped it. And since then, I've only done 1 or 2 speaking gigs a year. This year, I'm accepting more. Like, I made a decision. My kids are older now. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do, but not the crazy multi-speaker events. I'm going to do a handful, maybe 4 or 5 this year. And I'm going to have fun going out there and just sharing big, high level stuff. And what I'm most excited about is, again, like I said earlier, is building the social platform that we're doing right now.
Very cool, man.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I'd love to. We actually were just starting. We hired a social media manager maybe 3 weeks ago. So I'm stoked about this. We have him putting together a bunch of our videos. I'm filming videos, all new ones right now also for YouTube, and for we're doing Instagram, we're doing Facebook, we're doing LinkedIn, we're doing all of the normal platforms. And then what we're doing is we're driving everybody to this great review called the Built to Grow review. Because, when you have an organization of people, one of the most important things that we do is we go through a review with them twice a year or once a year. And we review, here's what you should be doing at the level that we're at right now in order to keep the company growing, right? But most companies don't have a review for themselves, for the CEO to say, this is where the company, you know what, we need to change our leadership team at the level that we're at right now, or we need to update our systems, or we need to do this, or we need to, whatever it is. So we put together this great review. We've used it for years, but we never offered it online. So what we're doing right now is we're building, I think it should be done today, actually, builttogrowreview.com is what where they could see that. And it'll literally, it's free. It's completely free. They, you know, but it'll give you a Built to Grow score. Yeah. And it'll tell you everything that you should be doing, the steps that you should be taking, depending on the questions that you answered in that review. So cool. I would suggest that people would be doing that multiple times a year, because the clients that we've had in Club 28 have been, they take this twice a year, no matter what.
Okay. We'll add that link in the description. It's buildtogrowreview.com.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. And what's your social handles, if you know them off the top of your head?
Well, the website where everything goes to is chrisguerrero.com.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's okay. If you're on your website, then they're great. People can find it there, and we'll do a little hunting, and we'll tag you in the posts and stuff when we launch.
I appreciate that.
People can find you, and you can grow that a little bit. Awesome. Tyler, you got any more questions? Actually, I know Tyler has a million questions.
I do. I know we're also at that time though. But you know, there's one thing that's very interesting when I've talked to other people I've really respected as coaches and consultants, when they talk about influence, and I feel like we're going back a little bit here, but I think it's also a key point. And I had a coach who I still use time to time when it makes sense and when, you know, I'm in that space for it. And he talked about I asked him what was a trait among his most successful entrepreneurs that he worked with. And he had anything from startup to guys that ran multi-billion-dollar corporations, etc. And he said the most successful guys really understood the art of influence.
Oh, wow.
And he was saying, and I kind of I would sit and digest that. I'm like, what is it about influence? And one of the things that I kind of came to as a conclusion is if you can influence someone where they're self-motivated to do something, that is far different than forcing someone's hand to do something.
Yeah.
Because I know there's nothing you could force me to do for the most part.
Yeah.
Unless you had a gun to my head, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, but if I bought into it and it's like a self thing that I want to do, then I'm fucking into it. And so that really, every time I hear the word influence, it always triggers that thought in my head of what is the difference between influence and the opposite of influence, I'd say, and maybe this is not quite the proper comparison, is again, the force of the hand. So I'm always thinking about influence and try to increase influence. And I found it at the end of the day, it just seems to have such a better effect, because at the end of the day, I don't think you can fully control someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. I believe there's artificial ways to assist influence, mm-hmm. you know, making things easier on people. Like we were talking about before, making sure that everybody understands the steps needed to get places, because mm-hmm. The scariest, you could influence the hell out of somebody to be motivated, but if they don't understand how they fit in, then they don't see value in themselves. And if they don't understand the exact steps to take, then they're just taking random steps and they don't see where they fit together. So mm-hmm. they don't understand the path that they're walking. And I think mm-hmm. that's really essential. But I agree with whoever that was. Definitely influence. Huge.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Because you always think of influence, generally most people think sales or marketing, but even just within your own company, if those are some of the people you need to influence the most.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. They got to drink that Kool-Aid every single day. You got to be you got to be a crusader, right? Yeah. They got to be bought into your crusade every single day. Yeah. And if you're good at that, if you're good at getting people, you live by your values, right? And mm-hmm. you live by your passion, then people literally, they get sucked into that wave and they just want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. The right people, for sure.
Yeah.
Damn, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
If anyone's looking for consulting, do you have any spots open right now, or how's that look?
Yeah, we've got 3 spots open. Well, not right now, but we will have 3 spots open because we have clients who just sold their companies
nice.
a couple months ago. And now what I've been doing is I've been on the phone with them, just kind of talking as friends to find out where their next stage is. But we are exiting them out because,
nice.
The goal of Club 28 is to grow companies, not to hang out with friends.
Yeah, no doubt.
It sounds horrible. But if anybody's interested, they could go to chrisguerrero.com. We have an application right on there, but go through the Built to Grow review, grab some great information from there. And if you're really focused on it and you really can handle growth, definitely fill out an application and we'll talk.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Chris. I really appreciate you jumping on, man. This is a little bit different of a podcast than we usually do, but I really enjoyed it. And I think it's great for the higher business guys, building that team, getting that organization.
Even people who are getting started, man. I think for them to kind of start thinking what should be coming down the road.
Yeah.
Maybe not like having a plan, like you said, you don't need $25 million systems for $1 million company, but at least to kind of know, you know, what to expect or what to start thinking about. So when the time does come, they're ready for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, man, thank you so much again. We appreciate the time.
Thanks everyone listening today. For everyone watching, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube. And for everyone listening, please give us 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. All right, guys. Thank you.